Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode number 252 of the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media. It's been a while since we've circled back with our next co-host, Chris Bassitt of the Toronto Blue Jays. Truth be told, we are recording this interview on a Wednesday while the Blue Jays are out in Anaheim. You want to let everybody know what time it is right now?
7 here. 7 a.m. Yeah. 7
a.m.
Yeah.
Now, most major leaguers, they don't see the light of day at 7 a.m. unless they've got, like, playing the Patriots Day game or something.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would say I just like to keep my body on East Coast time more so, obviously, with 2 kids, the little ones. So I just tell myself it's East Coast time the entire time. So day 1, I got up at 4:30. Day 2, I got up at 5:30, and then today I got up at 6. So it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what I tell myself. Get up.
All right. So first day, 4:30. What the heck do you do at 4:30 in the morning?
Oh man, watching TV shows, watching movies. There's this new show. I'm not sure if you watched it. There's this new show on Netflix. I want to say it's called like Fire States or Firefighters or something like that. It's kind of like a Hollywood show about firefighting, and then like also this guy that's in prison, and I don't know. It's good. It's good.
So is it a drama?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, it's
Okay.
not like real. It's not like actual real footage. It's definitely Hollywood based.
Okay. All right. I got you.
But it's good.
Yeah, because when I was checking in with you to make sure that, like, originally we had this scheduled for 11 a.m., I just wanted to let you sleep in if you like to do that sort of stuff. You're like, well, you might catch me on a surfboard out in the ocean. Are you going to go hit the water today?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go surfing. I don't think I go surfing, but I'm definitely gonna go float around the ocean for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Just can't get really too sunburned, but we'll be good.
All right. So who are we going with? Like, is this a big pitching outing or what?
I mean, odds are it's just going to be me, Bowden, Francis, and Gosman. That's the odds one. But they both got, I believe, both have their agents in town here. So, or 2 people they had to go to breakfast with. So it might be like 10 o'clock when we get out. But yesterday we were out earlier, like 8:30.
What does Gossman have to meet with his agent for? He's got his 9-figure deal. He's good to go. I mean, really, like, I'll talk to you when, it's year 4 of my 5-year deal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Like, hey, let's go. Come on. 10 o'clock. No, we're good, but let's go.
Yeah. I mean, let's take advantage. Is this your favorite stop for a road trip every year? Anaheim?
San Diego's hard to beat. LA's fun. LA's nice, but San Diego's really hard to beat. Miami's hard to beat if you go to Miami. I love Texas. There's a lot of really good ballparks. There's a lot of places I would say that are just like Texas has one of the best resorts that we stay at, kind of thing. It's just basically like a family wonderland, basically. So like every family member always goes there, so it's basically just chaos at the pool every day.
Got it. Yeah. How do you decide which ones families go to and which ones don't?
Just like everything in life, the women. The women decide for the most part where we're going. I mean, obviously the team kind of okays it, but the wives definitely have the. We would never be allowed to say, "Hey, you guys are going to go to this trip and not go to this trip." That just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, it makes sense, particularly like when you've got 2 young kids and you're gone as much as you are. Like, hey, I get it. Like, hey, you tell me where you want to go and we'll roll.
Right.
Okay, good. Makes sense. Interesting thing happened last night in your game. You guys had a really well-pitched game by Gossman. You guys got nice, timely hitting. It's been a nice trip so far through Angel Land there. I felt bad for George Springer. Middle of the game, he thought he got hit by a pitch. Manny Gonzalez, the umpire, did not call it that. And so Springer's like, okay, no big deal, because the ball obviously changed direction. He's like, guys, let's just go look at it, and I'll get my hit by pitch. I'll end up on first base. Well, they end up reviewing the thing. They come back and they were like, nope, call stands. Ball did not hit him on the foot. And George, who really does not get that animated that often, went ballistic. At what point did you know, oh, man, this is not going to end up well for him?
I mean, I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't going to end up well just because I feel like I don't know the numbers behind it, but there's a lot of calls going against George and a lot of at-bats. Just over and over and over, and I think they were just a boiling point that just he couldn't handle anymore. But yeah, last night's call that one's wild. The fact that it wasn't overturned is wild because literally you had every person on the other team literally like, there's no way in hell you just missed that. It's not possible. So it is what it is. I mean, I'm just glad we got the win.
Yeah. Well, when because of replay these days, I mean, usually things are righted. You know, that's what happens. I am curious, what is the worst blow up you've ever had a team, seen out of a teammate or something over the years where you're like, damn, dude just lost his mind?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I've seen crazy ones out of ejections. I would say the crazy ones are like when someone does a bad play or someone strikes out or has a bad outing, and they
get snappy.
Yeah, and they just keep all their like for every once in a while I'll throw an iPad or do something. I'm just like I gotta let some steam off right now or I'm gonna lose my mind. But for the most part, I don't break anything. I don't punch anything. I don't kick anything. Like that's just not kind of like who I am. But there's been some really good blowups in tunnels. I'll say that. Like I can't really. Man, I'm trying to think of a really good one. I've seen teammates take a bat to the bat rack and break teammates' bats before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, definitely doors broke and definitely things like that in the tunnel. But yeah, it's always where the cameras are not on you is where the biggest blowups are. And I'll be honest with you, I tend to weasel my way close to get a view because I was like, I need to see what's about to happen because you can tell when someone's about to blow up. So I'm like, I don't want you to see me, but I want to see you and see what the heck happens and make sure you're okay and don't need a trainer after this, whatever the heck it is.
There had to have been one guy who was always like a little bit of a ticking time bomb. And like you guys would probably all count it down together. Okay, he's going to go in 5, 4, 3. And it's okay. Like Paul O'Neill was nuts. Great player. But every time it seemed like he got out, he was beating up a Gatorade cooler.
Yeah, I mean, Chappie's a little crazy, but Chappie also is very, I would say, reserved in the aspect of like he'll go in the tunnel and yell something, then come back out and play platinum glove defense. So it was like he was able to like basically just say a word or two in the tunnel and then go back and be like, all right, I'm back, I'm locked in. But for the most part, it hasn't been like just extreme, like a one like crazy hothead or something like that. It really has not been like that. It's almost like you understand their emotion and it's like this game's really tough and you're kind of feeling bad for them. So if they let that out, it's like it's okay. Like it's not a big deal.
I get it. Hey, you know what we all need a little bit more of? To get off our ass. That's right. With bold flavors and refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your ass and have you feeling like you're an actual mountain. A mountain where the weather is always perfect. Your friends are ready to hang and a day of epic proportions awaits. That's right. Whatever you do, if you're like an old guy like me and you're still kind of taking it easy, but you want a little oomph in your step, or if you're one of those outdoorsy types that literally likes to climb a mountain or go hang out in the ocean like Chris Bassitt, whatever it is, you need a little boost of energy and something that'll get your day going. That's right. The mountain is calling. You should answer. Go grab your friends. Grab an ice-cold Mountain Dew wherever the refreshing beverages are sold. Simply do the do. Your life is going to be better. Anything you do, whether it's fishing, pick up football, tossing a frisbee, longest throw contest, if you do video games, I don't care what it is. Go do the do, because it'll take that activity from here to here every day. I am curious, we're catching you in between starts. You had one at home the other day. Your next one comes at Wrigley, which we'll talk about. I put it on the other day, and I was like, hey, there we go. And I turned it on. It was already 3-0. And it was the first inning, and there weren't any outs. I was like, oh, no, this isn't great. And it was, I think, one of your roughest outings, if not your worst one of the year. And something we talk about on the show is how you bounce back when things don't go your way. Like in the middle of a game, let's say I forget if you gave up 5 or 6 in the first.
Mm-hmm.
When you're sitting there in the dugout afterward, what is going through you? Can you give us, people that are listening, like an idea of what is bubbling inside of you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you have an inning like that, something is not right. So then it's like, all right, quickly identify kind of what is wrong, what's the issue, and for the most part, I just thought they were just sitting fastball early, and I was throwing too many pitches middle. So hyper aggressive team that's swinging at fastballs that I'm throwing middle kind of thing. For the most part, I don't really worry about you swinging, say, early in the count or late in the count or whatever the count may be. When I'm throwing my sinker or things like that, just because early swings and all that create early contact, which is what I want. But it was just the quality of pitches that I was throwing were just not good at all. So it was more so just like the next couple innings, if they want to be that aggressive, just nibble the corners, throw more balls, throw more off speed, just to get them out of their so-called routine of what they're trying to do. And then I started throwing up some zeros after that. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely not the best start, to say the least, in the first inning. I was like, get me the hell out of this first inning.
Well, Glasnow has always told me, he's like, if you make 30 starts in a year, he's like, there's going to be 5 where you're throwing the ball amazing in the bullpen and like you feel like the greatest pitcher that's ever been created. He's like, there's like 20-ish in the middle where you don't know, could go either way or whatever. He goes, and then there's a handful where you don't know what the hell is going on. Sometimes you escape that and you get out, and then sometimes they kick your balls in. So when you're having that, is the goal to just say, hey, if I can just give us 5 innings, then even though I kind of laid an egg in the beginning, I've kind of at least done my job. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's literally always the biggest thing. I literally have 2 goals every single game, and it's to throw at least 6 innings every game, and then to give my team a chance to win. That's literally my only 2 goals that I have every single game. I want to eat a lot of innings, and I want to give our team a chance to win. Obviously, every start's just not a reality in our sport. But a lot of the, say, 34, 35, 36, whatever many starts I may get, I want to push 30 of them that I give our team a real chance to try to win a ball game, whether it be give up 4 runs that day, whether I give up 1 run that day, whatever it may be, like just give your team a chance to win.
Well, listen, that your previous start against your old team, the Oakland A's, went much better. And it was the last time that you will ever pitch in Oakland. And, we haven't talked since then, but that seemed to be a real emotional time for you. You actually scooped up some of the dirt. Was that a pre-planned thing, or was that something where you were like, hey, this is the last time I'm going to be on this mound, a place where I really developed as a big leaguer?
No, I mean, that was definitely pre-planned. Just in the aspect of like, we were talking about ways to like do something. We were talking about like shadow boxes and things like that. Just because, I mean, the reality is I probably will never see that place again. So yeah, it was just like, hey, I'm going to show you all the cool spots that I know about around this whole entire area, whether it be like Golden State's old basketball court or Mount Davis or wherever it may be. I obviously spent a lot of time there, so I know a lot of the spots that I guess people just don't really know about. but yeah, it was just like me basically being allowed to remember a memory, obviously, long time from say today.
I mean, look at the smile on your face. It must have been kind of emotional for you, huh?
Nah, yeah, I mean, it was fun. I mean, I just I had so many great years in Oakland with so many great people that I'm still super friends with. So for me to kind of just go back there one last time, it was definitely special for me, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Well, you did not make the pitching highlight of that trip. As good as you were in that trip in Oakland, your now former teammate, Yusei Kikuchi, there was a foul ball. And for people who don't know, that dugout in Oakland is the weirdest thing ever. But
Yeah.
he, for some reason, turned baseball into a full contact sport. What the hell happened?
I'll be honest with you. So, I mean, obviously, we have replayed this thing a million times, like over the over the course of like either pitching meetings or hitting meetings, or I mean, listen, this video is kind of famous. Um, I think if you look back and replay it, I think truly Kevin Kiermaier ran like across us or like ran, but he ran like dead sprint away from where like the action was going to be, where it should be. And I truly think Kevin Kiermaier running away like hot wired his brain of like, oh crap, I need to be somewhere, and he just didn't know where he was supposed to go. Like he saw Kiermaier run, so he was like, I have to run. Like I don't know what to do. Um, So he ran onto the field like the only place you're not allowed to run, and ran right into the first baseman. Thank God no one was hurt. That was the best part about it all, is that no one was hurt. That was the best part.
Where were you?
I was literally right there. I mean, front row seat. Couldn't have bought a better ticket to the event. I mean, I was right there.
And what did you say to Kikuchi afterward?
I didn't say anything. I was so embarrassed for him. I knew, like, I know Kikuchi and how he is. Um, he is so like strict on everything, kind of thing, that I was like, oh my gosh. The last person in our entire dugout that I would have expected that to happen to is Kikuchi. Like Gosman, sure, me, sure, Bowden, sure, like Manoa, sure. Kikuchi would have been dead last on my list of guys that this would have happened to.
Why? Just because of his awareness?
That, and he's just so like, he does not take one second off. Like he's always like baseball mode. Like me and Gosman could be talking about God knows what. And then just not paying attention to that moment, and boom, like all of a sudden fly ball, things are going nuts. Kikuchi's just like locked in on every single little thing. I don't know how he does it. Like I can't do it every single day like he does.
That's amazing. God, what a poor that's rough. So he ends up leaving your rotation. No big surprise. Gets traded to Houston. Did you guys at least have one final shot of his $3,000 liquor?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, me, Barrios, Gosman, him, and his translator Yusei. Yeah, all of us had one last hurrah.
Wait a second. So it's Yusei and Yusei?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So what did you guys do a little toast for him?
Just thanking him, saying we love him. That was basically it. Just congratulations on, like, obviously going to a team that's obviously pretty dang good. So, yeah, just happy for him. Sad that he was leaving, but yeah, just wishing him the best.
Did you think you were leaving?
No, I mean there was a lot of articles and there was a lot of people saying that I was leaving or should be leaving. They told me I wasn't leaving, so I never thought I was leaving.
So they told you pretty early in the process, or like the day of the trade deadline, or how did that work?
No, I knew for a while. Like I think we had a number of people that had meetings and were told like, hey, like you're not getting traded.
Is is that a good thing because it puts your mind at rest, or was there because listen, the year's been shitty. Let's just call it what it is. That this could have gotten you an opportunity to get back in the
Yeah,
race
I
overnight.
mean, there's like obviously like two sides to every coin. Like the first side, like I'll just go over like the negative. Like the first side is like, man, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to have to win a World Series. Like that's my number one goal is to win a dang World Series. And to feel like you're kind of just like this is a lost year already is like, gosh dang, like that sucks. Like that's kind of hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. But on the other side, like, yeah, I would say it's a lot of I have a lot of respect and I have a lot of like gratefulness that it's like, hey, like we're gonna try to build a winning team next year, to win a World Series, and like we truly believe that you're gonna be a part of it. So I mean, for them to think like you're the part of the solution, not the problem, so to speak. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you don't kind of like feel good about that. But the situation sucks. Like there's no way around that. Like the situation sucks.
It does. And it's surprised the hell out of me. In fact, I think it's the biggest surprise in baseball this year. I predicted you guys to represent the American League in the World Series, so I'm obviously really good at this prediction stuff.
You need to stop predicting us between the Manoah pick and then us next year. Hey, next year, no picks.
Okay. You know what I did do?
We're dead last next year.
I did say that Tarek Skubal was going to win the AL Cy Young, so I think maybe one's.
I think you got that one going. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Yeah. So how do we explain this to Blue Jay fans? I've done a ton of Toronto radio this year, and they're like, "What do you see?" And I was like, I have no idea. To me, it's the biggest mystery in the sport. When you guys were going to sit, if you sat down at the end of the year, or even right now, and said, "Where did it go wrong?" How would you explain it to Blue Jay fans?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I've been a part of 4 organizations. The 4 organizations that I've been a part of, they all had. Some have had a lot of problems. Others have had a lot of problems, like a lot of problems. I think we do a lot of things right here, but like to me, like everybody has issues. It's just like I don't want to be one of those guys that like talk about the team's issues publicly. I see players do it, and I don't want to identify the problems because some of the problems I don't think are fixable. And that's for like teams, even if I played in the past. So it's like kind of like so-called like beating a dead horse if I'm talking about the issues that we have or the issues that other teams that I've been on have had, because it's like I said, like some of them are just like doom and gloom. So I try to be more positive than negative.
Okay, I understand that. I respect it. I'm curious though. Like when I've worked in offices too, multiple offices, it's the same sort of thing. If I feel like something can be changed, I would bring it up and say, hey, is there any way, like, will you do that?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. I had meetings with the front office last year. I'm sure I'll have a conversation with them again for next year. The one thing I will say about the Blue Jays for this year is we put, I think, $700 million into Shohei Ohtani's basket and didn't get him. That was the reality. And then I think our pivot was we really didn't have a pivot to like say another elite player, because in today's baseball, this is the reality of the landscape, is that you need 3 or 4 superstars. That's just the reality. You look at all the really good teams. they are not doing it with one superstar. They're legit doing it with 3 or 4 superstars. Like that's just the nature of this game now. Is that you cannot the way that pitching is, the way that kind of bullpens are set up. If you have one hitter or two hitters in your lineup, you literally cannot be good. I don't think. Like no matter how great the player is, I don't think it's possible. So, yeah, we have to get more hitting to protect Vladdy, and then the pitching has to be a lot better. Bullpen. I mean, we literally lost our whole entire bullpen from last year. So, yeah, there's so many things that you could talk about. I mean, I could literally talk for 45 minutes on this of things that didn't go great, and I can talk about things that literally I don't know how to fix, right, with our situation. But again, I just don't think saying those things publicly is what is best for this organization. And even if I leave, I still don't think I would ever be like, hey, like the Blue Jays have this, this, and this. It's because I've never done that with the White Sox or Oakland or the Mets. Because I have too much respect for like the players, like say in Oakland or New York. And I also have too much respect for like the coaches and stuff like that. They're just like, if I say something negative about the organization, I'm not saying it about the organization at all. Like I'm saying it about the people there, because the organization is just a name. But saying negative things about the organizations, you're talking about the people. You're not talking about the name of the team. So I feel very uncomfortable talking about that, just because I love all the guys that I've ever played with. So it's just like I'd rather protect them than hurt them.
That's fair. Hey, guess what? John Boy Media and iHeart Podcast have teamed up. You're probably wondering, Rose, what the heck do you mean? I mean, 2 of your favorite John Boy Media shows can now be found over at the Dan Patrick Show, in addition to where you already watch or listen. That's right. Wake and Jake and Jimmy's Three Things have joined the iHeart Podcast and Dan Patrick Show family. And the best part, don't worry, they'll still continue to be the very same shows that you know and love. If you can't tell, we're really excited about that around here. Dan Patrick is a guy that even I grew up on. That's how long he's been killing it in the business, and now we're a part of his family, and we couldn't do this cool stuff like this if it wasn't for you out there. We know that you have a lot of choices. We want to thank you for your support. We appreciate it. One thing, I thought there was a misstep in Toronto, and then once again, this is just my opinion. You had a chance to change the landscape by trading Vlad. I would have done one of two things. I would have either traded him, and far and away, he would have been the best player traded this deadline. And you could have gotten probably multiple people that could have helped the team right away. Or I would have extended him, because now he's going to go into the last year of a deal. I don't know. I mean, guys do sign extensions. It could happen. But he's that close to free agency in his mid to late 20s at that point. Like, why would he? So,
yeah.
Did Toronto miss the boat a little bit with him not extending him?
I have been around. I've been around some really, really good players, and I have never seen anyone like Vladdy. Like I just haven't. Like him the last month and a half, 2 months, whatever it may be. I was like, everyone talks about like 2021 Vladdy. The numbers that he had, his like MVP like season. I didn't see it really a lot last year. And then this year flipped, and like the first month or so, I was like, I don't see 2021 Vladdy. Like I just don't see that. And then all of a sudden there was a just like light bulb that went off to like say like mechanical changes, whatever he may have done. And I was like, okay, this is the best hitter on the planet. I think Vladdy, I don't know this. I don't want to speak for him on this, but I think Vladdy wants to be a Blue Jay for the rest of his career. Like I don't think he wants to leave. So I don't think it's like a super rush to like get an extension done. Like they obviously didn't trade him because they don't ever see him or want him to be in another uniform. They're okay to go like arbitration, give him, I don't even know how much he's going to make next year. But I think both sides want to be together. I don't think there's a bad relationship. I don't think like it's a negative that he doesn't have an extension done yet. And maybe it's just like, hey, like both sides kind of want to be together, and Vladdy's like, listen, I'm going to hold off until closer to say free agency because I don't know what a real fair value for me is right now. Like the craziest part is to me that like if I was Vladdy and I was going into a free agency year, I'd be like, listen, you're moving me to third base because I'm going to make a lot more money at third base than first base. And the reality is he is pretty damn good at third base. Like I thought moving to Vladdy from first to third, I was like, this is going to be an absolute crap show. Like, you know what I'm like, complete shit show, to be quite honest with you. There's no way Vladdy can play third. And then we moved him over to third. I'm like, damn, you actually can play third. Like, you played third, obviously, in the past, but, like, I thought that was, like, a long time ago. He's actually pretty damn good at third base, so I would throw him over there 75% of the time. I wouldn't even put him at first base. I think he loves third base more than he loves first base anyway, so I would put him at third.
Well, why wouldn't they? They have a vacancy. I mean, they really didn't fill the Chapman role.
Well, I mean, listen, I think it's also you have to kind of protect him in the way of like, hey, how many games do you want him to play at third base? Like kind of like workload. Like obviously there is a bigger workload playing third than there is first. Like there just is. Yeah. Just the amount of defense you have to take, the amount of throwing you have to do. How much of that can take away from his offense and things like that. Obviously you want him on the field. So that like this is me being GM, I'd be like, hey, 162 games, like you're playing 130 at third base. I'm gonna go get like a big bopper at first base. But that's fanboy me talking. Like there's reality, and then there's also GM that actually knows what he's talking about.
Got it. I have kind of lost track of Joey Votto. I think he's still healthy down there and trying to work his way back. How much of you wants to see him in September come up and have that first at bat as one of the great Canadian players in the history of this sport, essentially in his hometown team, get that roar?
Yeah, I mean honestly, that was another one that obviously he shows up at spring training, and I'm like, gosh dang, it's freaking Joey Votto. Like, if Joey Votto can just be anything close to Joey Votto, like we got a steal here. And then he just had a couple of ankle injuries and things like that, and so now it's just like, now I hope I can just see Joey Votto play. But I think Votto wants to play for a couple more years and things like that. So I'm still wishing, I'm hoping for like vintage Joey Votto for like a month, 2 months, whatever it may be. Like, hey, let's put on a laser show and do what you've done for basically 10, 15 years. It's been crazy to watch.
I love that. I hope it does happen. I really hope it does. There's this amazing story I read on social media where somebody sent you a picture with the person's mother and said, you know, this is the reason I'm a Blue Jays fan. And the mom had passed away, and you were able to get a hold of them and get them tickets. Can you kind of explain the whole deal to us? Give us a little more context.
Yeah. So I'm not on social media at all. Like literally at all. I literally have nothing. I got off it. For obviously the way that I've played this year, the way the team has played this year, I more negative than positive. Couldn't handle it anymore. I'm off. Well, anyway, my brother, my dad, my father-in-law, they're all still on social media, so they send me kind of the funny stuff that I still need to see, so to speak. But yeah, my father-in-law was like, hey, like, this is going on. Like maybe like you guys can like sign a jersey or something for him. And I was like, no worries. Like so like I still have capabilities of getting on the apps. So I just got on the apps and said like, hey, like this really stinks. Like obviously I can't imagine like losing. I'm not sure your situation, but I can't imagine losing a parent. Like that's got to be like absolute hell. And just try to make someone's day a little bit better. Honestly, I couldn't imagine. Like I said, losing a parent that'd be terrible.
So you ended up getting him tickets, and
Yeah, like we've talked. Like I'm not like I told him like, hey, like whenever you feel comfortable coming to a game, like I'll get you tickets whenever you want. I'm not gonna be like, hey, come tomorrow. Like I don't know his situation right now. Like I don't
sure.
know like how much he wants to come to a game with that. So yeah, whenever he feels comfortable, him and his family, I'll gladly give them tickets whenever they want to come.
Love that. That's so nice. Plouffe and I talk about this all the time on our other podcast, Baseball Today, the number of guys who just do the little things. And this is something that, I mean, it took a little more work for you to make this happen, but I love it. And, you're changing somebody's life, even if it's just for a couple hours. But for them, yeah, listen, I lost both my parents. It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're in your 20s, 30s. I lost my mom in my 30s, my dad in my 40s. Like, it just sucks. It's terrible, and there's not much that can make it better.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're doing it, I think, is really awesome. And just know that it's appreciated by the entire baseball community, and you're making somebody's life a little bit better. That's kind of our goal.
It should be all our goal.
Yeah, that's really good. We just asked another question on Baseball Today, and I'm going to throw this in your basket because Soto just had his first 3-homer game. Of course, he hits in front of Aaron Judge. And our question was, game on the line, would you rather pitch to Soto or pitch to Judge?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, there is not a win-win here. I mean, literally...
Are you okay? I think I stunned you.
That's a tough question, honestly. I would say I'd rather pitch to Judge. And the reason I'd rather pitch to Judge is because if he gets a hold of one, it's going to go further than I think if Soto gets a hold of one. Like the power numbers are a little bit better with Judge. And then I'd rather face a righty than lefty, but overall, I mean, those are the two. Like that's the best 1-2 punch in all of baseball. It's crazy what they've been able to do together. It's fun to watch, but it's also not fun to watch because you're going against it. But gosh dang, that is one crazy 1-2 punch. I'll say that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even Judge's his late and 2 out with runners in scoring position numbers and all that sort of stuff. I did a little look at it and I was like, man, the difference might be that Soto's eye is so good. Well, Judge has like double the number of walks in that situation. Yeah. It's almost a 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So, you thought Judge, big strikeout guy. It's just not like he seems so locked in this year that.
Well, Soto's job has never been, I would say, easier in the aspect of him for getting quality pitches to hit because you literally have to get Soto out. Like, there's no, like, I remember facing Soto with the Nationals, and it was like, hey, just walk him. And I know he hit like 230 or 240 one year, but he was swinging at so many pitches he just would never swing at, like, especially this year. He just was trying to force action. Now it's literally like, I have to come at him. Because obviously you don't want to walk him to Judge, but then he's not swinging at, say, a ball off anywhere. So Soto's in an unbelievable spot. But yeah, he's a free agent after this year, right?
He is.
Yeah. Let's hope that 1-2 punch ends. Let's hope that. Someone else, he goes somewhere else. I don't care where he goes. I would love to see him in Blue Jays jersey, but even go to the other New York team. I don't care where, but that 1-2 punch is not fun to be with. I'll say that.
No, it is not. Logan Gilbert of Seattle has had a very, very good year. Made a little news. There was a video out of he threw 7 shutout innings the other day against the Mets. And then there was a video of him playing college football 25. Now, there are some that are saying, I kind of sniffed around in these Mariners organization. They said, listen, that was after his press conference and everything. So let's not get that wrong. But I have heard of starting pitchers when their day is done going to do something else. So peel back the curtain a little bit for us. You throw 6 solid innings. You give up 2 runs. What do you do next?
I would say like our especially our pitching staff, our starting pitching staff, we have cameras that are very, very good, like photography cameras. But we don't really know what the heck we're doing with them. We're not professionals, but we have professional cameras. And like Gosman's got like I swear like every week it's like some different one that does something funny, that does something cool. Like a film camera, things like that. So we're probably always messing around with cameras, to be honest with you. That's just the reality of what we're kind of like doing, just messing around. Planning, like, say, okay, we're going to Seattle, let's go to this spot, let's go to this spot. Or like, say, obviously we're going to Chicago, we're in LA right now, so we went, like, that's literally why we went to Laguna, to the beach. Newport is just photography, just taking pictures of, say, the ocean or whatever it may be, getting outside. September 1st or 2nd, there's like a sky preserve, which is like you can see the Milky Way and the stars, like in Toronto, like 2 hours north. That's what we're talking about. If you're to be honest, like that, like we have like a whole big video game room, but no one's ever in it. We're just messing around of like planning trips and dinners and things like that.
So wait, like after you throw your 6 innings, you then come back out and start talking about your camera settings and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you spend 10 minutes and say, "Hey, good job. What did you think you did? What do you think went wrong? What right? Are you okay if it's a bad one, like my last one?" Or obviously, Gosman yesterday was like, "Hey, hand him a beer and like have a beer with him after the game, after his spot." And then it's just like, "Hey, like obviously, like, we're not allowed to be on our phones during the game." I don't understand that still, but yeah, we're not allowed to be on our phones during the game. So like we're basically like brainstorming, like, all right, we're going to Chicago. We're going to probably get in like at 9:30 in the morning. The off day is kind of ruined. You just want to have a dinner at night. Those type of things. Like we're just talking like, hey, like having fun, looking forward to the future in the aspect of the next couple of days, like playing things out so we can just kind of have something, I would say, just to be happy about, enjoy, look forward to, things like that.
Yeah, enjoy your breakfast with your agent.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, hopefully, like we could be at the beach right now, like that.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. I mean, geez, guys, let's get our priorities in order. Your next start will be at Wrigley Field, where you haven't, I believe, pitched a ton in your career.
No, maybe like once or twice.
Yeah. How much are you looking forward to that? Because the atmosphere is incredibly different than in virtually any other place in the league.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say it's like Wrigley and Boston, like are like 1-2. Like Wrigley is unbelievable. Like the fans are crazy. But Boston's is just like that too. It's just, I would say, just like it's Wrigley. It's just like it's Fenway. Like it's just those two stadiums for me are just like every single person on our team is excited to go to Wrigley. I look forward to pitching there. I've always looked forward to pitching there whenever I can. And then yeah, obviously we have a lot of new faces that are just like making the big leagues or just got to the big leagues and they've never been there. So like we're like, hey, like be ready. Like it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of people. It's the bullpen's indoors under the stands. Mm-hmm. Like it's way different than most stadiums. So just be ready. But yeah, I look forward to it.
One of those new players is Will Wagner. He just got the call up. Of course, if the last name sounds familiar, it
Oof.
should be Hall of Fame closer Billy Wagner, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
First pitch the kid sees in the show, he ends up lacing it for a double, which was awesome. He had a 3-hit day, drove in a run, I believe, the whole bit. I don't know if you heard his call-up story. His AAA manager, when he got traded over from Houston to Toronto, was Casey Candell, who played in the big leagues, I believe, with his dad in Houston. So he got called into the office, and he was like, I'm pissed at your dad. He shows up because the Wagners came out to see him play in AAA. He said, your dad didn't reach out to me, didn't text me, didn't seek me out, anything. He's like, because of that, you are not going to be playing this week. And then he paused and he said, because you're going to the show.
That is cool. I like that. I like all those videos. Like I know a lot of organizations will record them secretly, like a spy cam. I like them all. I think they're genuine. I think they're really cool.
How did you? I forget. Did you break camp? You broke camp with the team, didn't you? Or did you get called up?
You say my first call up?
Yeah. How'd you find out you were going to the show?
There was a doubleheader late in August, and they just told me, "Hey, you're getting called up." There wasn't really nothing special by any means, nothing at all. It was just the GM called me and just said, "Hey, we're calling you up." I think it was on an off day, so I don't think I was around for the team and all that aspect of it.
Where were you? What minor league affiliate?
Double A Birmingham.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, got to get ready. You're going to be pitching in the doubleheader. What's the first call you make?
Parents, brother, wife, grandpa. Yeah. So all those for sure. Yeah, just a lot of emotions, a lot of people super, super happy. Grandpa's crying, I'm crying. I'm like, oh my, will you stop crying? You're not supposed to be a softie. So yeah, it's emotional for everybody because there's so many people that truly pour so much time and effort into, say, your career for a long, long time, and then to obviously see a dream come true. And the reality is, playing in the big leagues is a dream come true for yourself. But there's a lot of people in your corner that are also having that dream for you. So there's just so many people to be thankful for. And I'm sure even if you ask Will, if you ask, say, a lot of these guys that just got called up, I don't think it's probably set in yet. Hey, you're in the big leagues. I think this offseason they'll kind of sit there and be like, dang, that did happen. First pitch, I did get a hit. All these things. It's just too fast. Too many emotions that are too raw.
Do you remember the first time you walked into a major league clubhouse?
Yeah, for sure. Because I was absolutely scared shitless of basically everyone because I didn't really know. This was back. We can go on a tangent here, but this was back when it was old school baseball, and you respected every single veteran, and you made sure that you were dressed properly, or your pants and your shirts were cut in half, and so I was like, all right, I got to make sure I'm dressed right. I got to make sure I'm super early. I got to make sure I'm not doing anything stupid, not in the way of any of the veterans. I got to get all my work done before they're even there. Baseball, when I came up literally 10 years ago, is so much different than today. It's not even remotely close to what it was. And I'm not saying what I think there's just like the whole entire world. I think there's a middle ground, and I think we're way too far one way, and we need to bring it back a little bit. And that's not with Blue Jays. That's literally with all of baseball. Mm-hmm. It's just you gotta reel it in a little bit. But yeah.
Well, who was the one guy or two guys that made you feel welcome? Where they were like, "Hey, Chris, good to have you."
I would say there was a lot of guys. The team that I came up with, hands down, was all super genuinely nice to me. Obviously, Simeon was there that I knew. Josh Faley was there that I knew. I knew a lot of the guys on the team because I was with them in big league camp. But the number one guy was Chris Sale, and it wasn't close. Like, Chris Sale is an A++ teammate. He would always make sure, like, he would walk up and be like, "Hey, like, whatever you do, do not touch." Like, so they had like a PS4 or PS3 or whatever it was back then. I can't remember what it was. And he was like, "Whatever you do, do not touch this. Like, don't ever let a veteran see you touch this. Like, don't touch this." So, like, he was always like getting me out of trouble before I even got in trouble. But then, like, we'd always have, like, he would always make sure everyone was having fun. Yeah, I would say Sale was just A++. So I would go to war for that guy.
He's got a good shot at winning his first Cy Young this year, man.
I'm just so happy. Like, obviously, I only spent a month with him, but like, I have so much respect for him as a player, as a person, how he handles like his teammates, things like that. I just have felt so bad for him for the last, I would say, year and a half, 2 years. I'm like, this guy just cannot catch a break. Like, he's finally healthy, gets hit by a line drive, like breaks his hand or whatever. Like, there's just so many fluke things that are just like happening over like the last year and a half, 2 years. I'm like, I just want to see Chris Sale again. Like, I know how good he is. And to see it finally, couldn't be more happy for him.
Plouffe and I talked about him the other day on Baseball Today. We both think he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Obviously the voters have to adjust their eyes, ears, and kind of baseball hearts, if you will, as far as wins go, because the game has changed so significantly. But when you look at the rest of his numbers, because he's going to get close to 3,000 strikeouts if he doesn't get there. If he wants to play another three and a half, whatever it is, he'll get there. But the rest of it, like, they're going to have to adjust their sight line on what makes a Hall of Famer. Do you feel like you've been watching a Hall of Famer when he pitches?
Man, that would be tough. That'd be really tough. I don't know if he has the accolades to do it.
So this is going to be his sixth or seventh time in the top 5 of Cy Young voting. And if he wins it, it'll be his first. I think he's got a couple runner-ups or something like that. I mean, you're talking about pure dominance at the peak of his career for.
Oh yeah, I mean, the peak of his career was crazy. I just don't know if he has the overall numbers to actually have the voters vote him in. Like,
but is that a big thing for you as a starting pitcher, like accumulating those numbers to some degree? Because
I mean, the reality is, like, you can have a 3-4 year stretch of being really, really dominant. That doesn't make you a Hall of Famer. I think making you a Hall of Famer is like a 10-15 year run that was like, dude, this guy is special. Like, I feel like you have to have so much luck to be a Hall of Famer. You have to have so much skill. You have to have a crazy work ethic and desire to be really, really good. And I think Sale has all those things. And I'll be honest with you, if Sale does make the Hall of Fame one day, I would not be shocked one bit, just because that's how good he is. But just currently, I just don't know if he has the numbers to persuade enough voters to get him in. I'd almost put Sale in like the DeGrom case.
Mm-hmm.
Like DeGrom is, in my opinion, the best pitcher to ever walk this planet. Like, I know Randy Johnson, I know Roger Clemens, and I know Pedro, and I know vintage DeGrom, I think, is better than anybody else. Like, that's who I think is the best pitcher. To just look at his numbers, I don't know if the voters will say, listen, he's a Hall of Famer, just because it was just a window. It would be tough.
We'll keep our eye on it, and hopefully the next time we talk, Jacob deGrom will have thrown a pitch for the Texas Rangers. We're going to keep our fingers crossed on that one.
That'd be sick. I hope he does.
I hope so too. He's been throwing in batters, and by the way, his first pitch in his last time out on a mound in between starts for a guy, or in between games, I think, was 99 miles an hour. Must be nice.
I mean, he could wake up hungover and throw 97. That's the problem. Like this guy has been blessed with a bazooka. It's the craziest thing. It's so crazy. Like, effortless 100 miles an hour.
Some guys
Yeah.
just get it all, don't they?
Yeah.
We appreciate you spending an hour with us on your off day. But look, it's not even 8 a.m. in Anaheim, so you've got the whole rest of the morning to go enjoy. Go boogie board or whatever the heck you want to do. All right?
I'll be doing that. I'll be floating around the ocean.
I appreciate it. Sounds awesome. For our amazing producer, Robbie Scirocco, our incredibly amazing producer or intern as well, Tommy Young. That is Chris Bassitt of the Toronto Blue Jays. I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on the Chris Rose Rotation, a production of John Boy Media.